Welcome back, everyone. In the last stimulus update, I covered the recent talks between Mark Meadows and Nancy Pelosi for the first time in a few weeks. And so this could spark some new progress. It's some good news, but still rather stagnant and really at an impasse. However, we're going to be looking at some hypothetical scenarios that could happen for the next stimulus package to be passed. And as always, if you have been enjoying these stimulus package updates, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Just click it. It will help with that YouTube algorithm, so I do greatly appreciate it. And if you want to be notified every single time I make a new video, go ahead and click that big red subscribe button and hit that little notification bell as well. I post videos almost every single day now, so in order to do that, I do appreciate your support. I'm so grateful for every single one of you subscribers who are so loyal and stalwart. I'm very grateful to have all of you. Now, according to Nancy Pelosi, Democrats are stringent on $2.2 trillion. They are not budging. They are not coming down one penny. Not even 1 cent from $2.2 trillion. They have to have a $2.2 trillion package. She's basically saying take it or leave it, and she has now said that Congress is at a, quote, tragic impasse for the next stimulus package. She's forcing Republicans to take this $2.2 trillion deal. She's saying if you do not take this, negotiations and talks will not continue. And that price tag is nearly double than what was the HEALS Act. That was the Republican proposed bill that had many things in there that were left out that Democrats did not like, and that's why they do not agree to the HEALS Act. Pelosi said, quote, "We have said again and again that we are willing to come down and meet them in the middle. That would be $2.2 trillion. When they're ready to do that, we'll be ready to discuss and negotiate." I did not get that impression on that call. She was alluding to a 25-minute call between herself and the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, that they had on Thursday. Like I mentioned, this is their first time speaking, or any officials talking about the next stimulus package, for the first time in a few weeks. That day specifically was August 7th. That was the day that Americans were hoping that the next stimulus package would be passed. That was that Friday, before both bodies of legislation went off to vacation. Whether or not you think that's earned is a different story. So where are we right now? Well, we have a $2 trillion chasm that has to be bridged here. We have the HEROES Act that was proposed and passed in the Democratic House back on May 15th. Seems like an eternity ago. I was not in this studio at that time. That was with the classic white background. This is a lot different, so feels like last year that we were talking about the HEROES Act. We have long since stopped talking about the HEROES Act. And then, of course, we have the Republican bill, the $1 trillion HEALS Act, and that was proposed just recently, a couple weeks ago. And so there's that $2 trillion bridge that is seemingly impossible to ever close. So Pelosi wants to meet in the middle at 2.2, but Republicans are concerned about fiscal spending, as there's already been several trillion dollars of stimulus injected into the economy, and they don't want to continue to spend more. But what's another $1 trillion to spend? So Nancy Pelosi said, quote, "That could be a very short conversation if they're not willing to meet in the middle. We're not budging. They have to move." So what we have here now is 3 hypothetical scenarios. Of course, Republicans can give in, and they could reach Nancy Pelosi's ultimatum. That's not one of the 3 hypothetical scenarios, though, as both Meadows and Treasury Secretary Mnuchin have already said that Republicans will not agree to that price tag. They will not do it. So we really have only 3 hypotheticals here that we're going to cover. So what are the 3 routes that could end up happening here? Number 1, to put it simply and bluntly, there is no stimulus deal. There simply just may not be another stimulus package. Point and blank. Now this sounds almost unbelievable, inconceivable, given that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell from Kentucky said that last month a stimulus deal could be finalized in several weeks. Both parties do want a stimulus deal. They want to see another stimulus check, even if they have not agreed to policy priorities and funding amounts. You have 35 senators and all of the members of the House of Representatives up for re-election this come November, and it's always helpful for elected officials to return to their districts and show concrete financial relief to their constituents. Without that stimulus package, there may not be a second stimulus check or more funding for federal unemployment benefits, school opening, payment protection plan, small business loans, and coronavirus testing. For a large, comprehensive stimulus package, McConnell needs bipartisan support. However, if both parties cannot agree on total spending, there just won't be a big stimulus bill. And Nancy Pelosi has already expressed and pontificated that she does not want a piecemeal approach, a bit-by-bit approach. She wants a robust, comprehensive package that includes all of the features that she wants to see in the next package. Republicans do have that skinny bill, but Democrats don't want it. Number 2, and this is likely, Republicans actually pass their own stimulus bill. Republicans could actually pass their own bill in the Senate without Democrats. Now this seemed impossible last month because some fiscally conservative Republicans did not want to do another $1 trillion in federal spending. At the time, Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, who is also up for re-election, said that, quote, "Half of the Republicans are going to vote no on any more aid. That's just a fact. Conservatives are very big on limited federal spending, and it's worth noting that already several $trillions has already been injected and passed in response to the pandemic. Conservatives also express that spending money and using the government to rely on is not how problems should be addressed. But if we've learned anything from recessions and depressions, in particular the 2008 crash, as well as of course the Great Depression as an example, and you can definitely compare that to what's going on right now when you have such high unemployment, the government has to step in times of crises, and I do believe that. But that said, it is possible that Senate Republicans could pass a smaller stimulus bill, which could appease conservative Republicans, and if McConnell can find enough Republican support, he could pass a smaller stimulus bill with more limited bipartisan support. So Senate Republicans are working on a $500 billion new stimulus bill that could include funding for $300 of weekly unemployment benefits, school funding, small business loans, testing and vaccine development, liability protection, and $10 billion in funding for the USPS, or United States Postal Service. But like I mentioned in the last update, that skinny bill does not even mention a stimulus check, and similarly, it does not even mention student loans or anything having to do with student loan forbearance or cancellation of student debt, anything of the like that is not on the Republican agenda. And there is the third scenario. Now, this one could happen if Republicans are under tremendous pressure with the election coming up. Let's say poll numbers are not looking good for Republicans and they want to try to attract voters and keep them in their district. So it could happen, but I don't see it happening. And if it is something that Republicans would have to give in and not the Democrats, then it would not be this number. I think it would be a little bit less than this number, but we would have to see what happens. So that third hypothetical scenario would be that Republicans agreed to a $2 trillion package. Now that doesn't seem far off from 2.2, and the 0.2 just seems very reductive and negligible, but you do have to remember that 0.2 means $200 billion, but it doesn't sound that way when you think of it as this 2.2 or 2. It almost sounds like it's the same number, but you have to keep in mind that 0.2 means $200 billion. So Republicans could agree to a $2 trillion package to try to appease House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. So like I said, this is not impossible. There is a path, but it's very unlikely. Republicans are open to a $1 trillion stimulus package. That is what they're passionately pushing for. So Democrats could take that bill or leave it. The same way how Nancy Pelosi is saying that Republicans could take or leave her $2 trillion bill. This impasse is likely to continue to September if Democrats won't come down to a compromise or near $1 trillion, or Republicans don't come or near to $2 trillion. So those are the three hypothetical scenarios, and where do we go from here? Well, based on Pelosi's comments, Republicans can either take her offer, which they'll probably never do, or Republicans can go ahead and pass their own legislation on the Senate floor. But as we know, Congress is on vacation right now, but they could return to Congress with just 24 hours of advance notice. The Senate is in recess until September 8th, and the House Representatives are in recess until September 14th. So Senate Republicans could take it upon themselves, be the arbiter here, and introduce their own bill as early as this coming week. And that's why I do say that legislation could be right around the corner, because Senate Republicans can go ahead and do something on their own. Would it be enough to satisfy every American and provide essential financial relief? Probably not. But Americans could make that decision for themselves and use their power at the ballot box come this November. Even if Trump is not reelected, based on current polls, it's showing very likely that Republicans may not have control of either the House or the Senate after November. And even with a Democratic majority House and Senate, any bill would still have to be signed by the president at that time. So those are the three scenarios based on what we know so far. What would you like to see happen? Which of those routes would you go? Or do you think we may not even need any more financial relief? What are your thoughts? Tell me down below in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. But as always, thank you for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, if you got value out of it, go ahead and click that like button for me. Smash it. It'll just help with that YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more videos on my channel, I do post videos now almost every single day. It's all because of you guys for your support. So I'm so very grateful for every single one of you. You're so loyal, and I appreciate that. So if you want to see more videos on my channel, I post videos every single day almost covering business, finance, investing, entrepreneurship, mindset, strategy, and tips and tricks from my own experience. I also do these stimulus package and stimulus check updates. So if you like any of those topics, if any of them appeal to you, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and also go ahead and click that notification bell as well, so you're notified every single time I make a new video. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one.